This might be a blast from the past, but does anyone else remember when Casper was such a huge thing? And periodically, every time it was October, there would be Casper reruns. Okay. But does anyone else remember the fully 3D animated Casper movies? Because I remember two different ones existed. One for Christmas and the 2006 Casper Scare School. Because like after the first animated movie, Casper kind of picked up the Scooby-Doo effect where if Casper was in the name or title of an upcoming project, a lot of voice actors or actors would bandwagon to be a part of that movie. Like, we've got Debbie Dearberry, the voice actor Jimmy Neutron. We've got John DiMaggio. I don't know how to say his last name, so that's okay. But he's the voice actor of Dr. Draken. Billy West, the voice actor of Dr. Zoidberg. Scott Menville, the voice actor of Robin. Then we have Kevin Michael Richards, the voice actor of Mr. Lincoln and Kids Next Door. And then we have Devin Wickensire, I can't say his last name for God, from Ned Declassified. We have Ned in the movie as Casper. What? Point is, this movie had a list of voice actors that were in their prime, lending their voice to a movie that was just going to end up with a 4.5 on IMDb and a 49% Rotten Tomato. Damn, that's such a waste, bro. Anyways, let's just get right into this review. Of course, the movie has to start off with the three uncles terrorizing the town. But wait, does that billboard say Secret Dreams of the Orange Rooster? What is this, an indie movie made by Rooster Teeth? What is that?
Banana cheese. Banana cheese.
Please tell me y'all see the same set of characters. I feel like I'm watching a movie that came before Fanboy and Chum Chum or Jimmy Neutron. Anyways, the point of the uncle scaring the town is for Casper to get his debut in scaring. You know, to finally give the 1-2 to the humans, to go booga wooga wooga. But Casper is a no-go. He's a no-show because he's off teaching his human friend Jimmy soccer. Soccer. You heard me right. A ghost is teaching a human soccer. Alright. Suspending my belief. Suspending everything because this is an animation. Remember, it's an animation. So the uncles go back home. They're disappointed in Casper. They start watching the TV and they make it on TV. But so does Casper. And that's not a good look. So, guess who comes a knocking? The king of the monsters. Because a king does not have duties in this movie. He is specifically worried about the uncles and the nephew and making sure that he could scare humans. Yes. And we get this phenomenal speech.
If we are friendly to fleshies, then they'll lose their fear of us. And if they lose their fear of us,
they'll rise up against us.
The fleshies will rise up against us.
They're not fleshies. They're called...
Silence!
Now my thing is, never in a million years would I have ever thought that in a movie there would be monster supremacy. You heard me, monster supremacy in a kids movie. Wow. Wowee. So now Casper is sent to scare school because he has no ability of scaring humans. They have to teach him. They're basically sending him to a boarding school. And then the movie cuts to the principals of the school explaining the fact that they actually hate being principals because they feel like they are the most scariest being and they should be out on the field scaring humans. And then the scene ends with them crying about missing their relative. Okay. And then we cut to the uncles kind of talking to Casper. being sad that they have to help him pack up for him to go to scare school, kind of giving him the lore of why he should do good or he's going to end up in the valley. And the fact that they are not allowed to say their aunt's name because she was banished there, and they don't want Casper to be banished there either. Then we just cut to the king of all monsters talking to the principal of the school and saying, hey, keep a lookout for that one over there because he needs to learn. We cut to Walmart vampire kid.
One who ends up sitting on the hump.
So, get off of me.
Just playing with you. All right, listen up. If you're new here, and most of you are, I'm Thatch. This is my last year here, and basically, everybody here does what I say.
Commanding the other students to do what he says, and as soon as Casper gets on the boat, he just makes a fool of this dude. And it's not even on purpose, it's strictly by accident, but the kid is now forever going to try and annoy Casper for that instance. And then for comedic effects, there's a gaslighting blind pirate. This movie script gets questionable and questionable each time. Anyways, Casper compliments him on his boating skills, and the pirate is now forever a simp for Casper. He basically will do anything for Casper now. Then we cut to the desperation of Walmart vampire kid of becoming the headmaster's spy to really pay attention to Casper and basically rat on him. He's turning into one of those characters.
It's what they're there for.
Settle. We won't have to abide by Kibosh's rules much longer.
What do you mean? He wouldn't give us a tracer? I don't get it.
Then we'll just have to put the Kibosh on Kibosh.
I still don't get it.
And I don't get the joke either. Then literally after this, we're just hit with scenes of Casper in class and getting detention for being nice or speaking up for the incorrections a teacher may say. And we don't really need this. It does not help the story. It does not progress anything. He just gets detention. And then he finishes detention. That's it. The rest of the film stops being filler till Casper actually sneaks out to go meet Jimmy. You know, little rebellious phase he's having. But joke is, even that scene is pointless. Casper goes to meet Jimmy to then tell Jimmy, you've got this, try out for the team, and then leaves. That's it. Jimmy's like, okay, Casper, thanks for coming here. I just needed your reinsurance to know that I wanted to be on the team. Like, you'd think you'd get more out of a scene with Casper risking his life to go and see his human friend, but no, you literally just get 2 minutes of Casper and Jimmy just talking behind bleachers about joining his soccer team. Okay. Then, once again, we're reminded of the supremacist message. The balance, because we're back in class.
If we scare humans too little, they'll lose their fear of creatures and rise up against us. If we scare too much, they'll be all, hey, you're scaring us too much, and rise up against us. But when things are in balance, humans are just scared enough, and no one will rise up against anybody. That's doing your part for the balance.
Casper gets more detention because he fell asleep, and because of this, Casper is sent to the headmaster's office. Casper pretty much gets told, do better in class or we're gonna send you to the Valley of the Shadows. He's just basically threatened again. Then the 2 friends he made while on the boat ride to the school said, wait a minute, we're your friends too, Casper. We need to risk our lives so then you can be proven to be scary. So cue the montage of the friends helping Casper be able to scare people and scare monsters and fix up his representation. Now we're in the cafeteria and we cut to the gaslighting Patchy the pirate trying to explain to Casper that he has been in communications with Jimmy because Jimmy wants to tell Casper that his soccer game has been moved to today. How they're in communications and how they know each other makes absolute no sense to me, but okay. Although I understand that this scene, the entire moment where it's just like, oh, he's a blind pirate and he's trying to talk to Casper and he thinks he's in private, is supposed to be funny, but the whole entire movie, like their style of joking is just dry-witted humor. And this movie's supposed to be targeted towards kids. I don't think kids understand dry-witted humor. Now that I'm older and watching this, I understand that it's supposed to be funny, but the execution is terrible. So of course, since Casper cannot let down his human friend, he makes sure to travel to the human world and make it to Jimmy. The joke is, he doesn't make it in time. Honestly, I thought at this point in the movie, that would be the climax, where it's like, oh my gosh, Casper, I thought you were my friend. I thought you were gonna make it to the game. But instead, since we're like, more than halfway done with the movie, I really thought that was gonna be the moment, the big break. But no, we just cut to the principals figuring out a way to actually overthrow the king of all monsters by stoning him. It's kind of ironic, but okay. But uh-oh, Casper's not in bed. But so who goes to rat out Casper, the Walmart cheap version of a vampire kid. Then we are presented on a rusting platter the lamest chase scene I've ever seen. Casper's getting chased by a vampire in its bat form. Casper is a ghost. He could go through anything and absolutely dodge this dude. Why are we having a chase scene between a ghost and a vampire? Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me. But remember, this is an animated movie. Remember. Anyways, Casper makes it back to the bed. Principals are like, what the heck is this? Walmart kid is like, I told you he was here. But he wasn't here. And then the letter that Jimmy sent Casper slips out of the bed. Then as a punishment, the principal orders all the students to go to the human world and scare humans. Okay. So as Casper's punishment, he is required to scare his human friend Jimmy. Casper does, and he's so disgusted by himself that he banishes himself to the Valley of Shadow. He leaves a note for his classmate to read, but he just straight up flies there. Since Mummy Boy and Zombie Girl have now read the letter that Casper's missing, they go to the principal and like, hey yo, Casper ran away. And actually, because the principals were thinking of using Casper as their first little test subject, they now have to change their entire plan and get the uncles. But wait, before Casper enters into the Valley of the Shadow, a demon version of himself to sort of like scare back the people out of the shadow of the valley, confronts him. And he's like, I know deep down you actually want to scare people. And Casper's like, no, this entire time I have not been wanting to scare people. I might as well go in there because I have no ability, no want to scare anybody ever again. And this scene is pointless because we all know this about Casper. He's never wanted to scare people. He's disgusted in himself for scaring his friend. Then we cut back to the uncles being in the principal's office. Zombie Girl and Mummy Boy are kind of peeking in, and they witness the uncles being stoned, and they're like, whoa, we gotta tell Casper. Then basically the principals go get the king, Kibosh, to visit the school so then they could stone him. But before that, we cut to the fact that the friends are taking a ship to the Valley of Death with the pirate, and they use the ornament of the ship as a little test because none of them want to go in there. So they're like, hey, we could use this not creature ornament to go into the Valley of the Shadows. But what doesn't make sense is the fact that he is a creature. He is a monster. Even though he's attached to the front of the ship, he is a monster. But cut to the valley. Basically, as soon as Casper gets into the valley, he realizes that this is a place of pure happiness. Monsters can be friendly as much as they want. And actually, he finds Aunt Spiffy. Additionally, he finds the uncle and aunt of the principal. And we get this beautiful gem.
We've always been a tight-knit family. Some would say we are as close can be. When you are two heads sharing one body, you simply have to learn to get along.
Obviously, we also have to explain the principal's reasoning to why they are how they are, and that's just due to trauma. Woo! We cut back to the principals and the king all in front of everybody, and the principals stone the king. They stone Kibosh. And I love how all of the students that literally look up to the king are just okay with this. I like how they're like, yes, we must revolt with our principles. What? And because the stoning chemicals work, the principals decide on the spot with everyone there that we must all go to the human world and terrorize them. Then we come back to Casper in the valley convincing everybody to leave the valley because of what's about to go down. And then after this, the movie continuously does not make any sense. Throughout the movie, we are convinced that the valley is a horrible place to be. You could never come back. You're banished there. And apparently everyone that's in the valley is able to just run out. They're able to leave. That adds no structure. That adds nothing to the valley. That adds no fear to it. And then also, when the students make it to the human world, they all have the stoning chemical spray when there was only one of its existence. Continuity, we don't know her. Casper saves Jimmy before being stoned, and while flying in midair, they make up. Whatever issue they had was non-existent anymore. Then, to distract the principals, Casper has them chase him. And then, to stop the principals from doing what they're doing, at the very end, the principals run into their uncle and aunt. And that magically stops them from wanting to take over the world because their uncle and aunt said no. Okay. I'm pretty sure there was more of a built-up reason against the king of monsters for them to want to take over the world. But you know what? Because aunt and uncle said no, we're not doing it. So everyone's reunited and there's no more segregation between monsters and humans. And we have the happiest ending ever. Kibosh actually reveals that he used to be friends with humans, just like Casper. Wow. And that's the movie. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Catch you later.